गोपीजनवल्लभ गिरिवरधारी यशोदानन्दन व्रज जनरञ्जन यशोदानन्दन व्रज जनरञ्जन यशोदानन्दन व्रज जनरञ्जन यमुनातीरवनचारी यमुनातीरवनचारी जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी गोपीजनवल्लभ गिरिवरधारी जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी गोपीजनवल्लभ गिरिवरधारी यशोदानन्दन व्रज जनरञ्जन यशोदानन्दन व्रज जनरञ्जन यशोदानन्दन व्रज जनरञ्जन यमुनातीरवनचारी यमुनातीरवनचारी जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Jaya Radha Gokula Nanda Radha Gokula Nanda Radhe Jaya Sita Ram Lakshman Hanuman Jaya Sita Ram Lakshman Hanuman Jaya Gauranitai 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 Jaya Gauranitai Jaya Jaya Prabhupada 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Jaya Prabhupada 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada Jai Shri Radha Gokulanand ki Jai Sitaram Lakshman Hanuman ki Jai Shri Gaur Nitai ki Jai Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. Okay. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudire Nashtaprayeshu Bhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtaki. So today we are reading from Śrimad Bhāgavatam, Canto 3, Chapter 11, verse number 17. I'll just recite the verse once and then we'll do a call and repeat. Bhagavan Veda Kalasya Gatim Bhagavata Nanu Vishvam Vichaksate Dhira Yoga Radhena Chakshusha. Bhagavan Veda Kalasya Gatim Bhagavato Nanu Vishvam Vichakshate Dhira Yoga Radhena Chakshusha. Bhagavan Vedakalasya Gatim Bhagavato Nanu Vishvam Vichakshate Dhira Yogaradhena Chakshusha Bhagavan Vedakalasya Gatim Bhagavato Nanu Vishvam Vichakshate Dhira Yogaradhena Chakshusha Bhagavan Vedakalasya Gatim Bhagavato Nanu Vishvam Vichakshate Dhira Yogaradhena Chakshusha Bhagavan Vedakalasya Gatim Bhagavato Nanu Vishvam Vichakshate Dhira Yogaradhena Chakshusha Bhagavan Vedakalasya Gatim Bhagavato Nanu Vishvam Vichakshate Dhira Yogaradhena Chakshusha Bhagavan Vedakalasya Gatim Bhagavato Nanu Vishvam Vichakshate Dhira Yogaradhena Chakshusha Bhagavan Vedakalasya Gatim Bhagavato Nanu Vishvam Vichakshate Dhira Yogaradhena Chakshusha Bhagavan Vedakalasya Gatim Bhagavato Nanu Vishvam Vichakshate Dhira Yogaradhena Chakshusha. Word for word. Bhagavan, O spiritually powerful one. Veda, you know. Kalasya, of the eternal time. Gatim, movements. Bhagavataha, of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Nanu, as a matter of course. Vishvam, the whole universe. Vichakshate, see. Dhiraha, those who are self-realized. Yoga Radhena, by dint of mystic vision. Chakshusha, by the eyes. Translation and purport by Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Translation. O spiritually powerful one, you can understand the movements of eternal time, which is the controlling form of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Because you are a self-realized person, you can see everything by the power of mystic vision. So please repeat the translation. O spiritually powerful one, you can understand the movements of eternal time, which is the controlling form of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Because you are a self-realized person, you can see everything by the power of mystic vision. Purport. Those who have reached the highest perfectional stage of mystic power and can see everything in the past, present and future are called Trikalagnas. Similarly, the devotees of the Lord can see everything clearly that is in the revealed scriptures. The devotees of Lord Krishna can very easily understand the science of Krishna as well as the situation of the material and spiritual creations without difficulty. Devotees do not have to endeavor for any yoga siddhi or perfection in mystic powers. They are competent to understand everything by the grace of the Lord who is sitting in everyone's heart. Om Ajnana-timirandasya Gyananjana-shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam. Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Guru Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunatanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitamscha. Hey Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute. Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye. Vancha kalpatarubhascha kripa sindhubheva patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shrivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Namine. Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschat Deshatarine. I'm begging all blessings from all of you Vaishnavas gathered here and perhaps some gathered online. Please bless me so that I can speak something useful. This whole chapter is quite technical, and when I was preparing for this class, I was thinking, I don't know what had gotten into me to say that yes, I can do it, but I will, with the mercy of Srila Prabhupada and our gurus, hopefully I will be able to at least repeat what I hear from them so that it can purify me and it serves you all. Thank you. Right, so before we dive into today's verse, just a little bit of background. In the previous verse, Vidura is asking this question, and he asks Maitreya, kindly inform me of the durations of life of those greatly learned living entities who are beyond the range of kalpa. So, the first question is, what is a kalpa? What is a kalpa?
1 day of Brahma.
Kalpa is 1 day of Brahma. So here we are talking about those living entities who are beyond the range of kalpa. So who are these living entities and where do they live? Where do such living entities live? So it said that these living entities live in the planetary systems which are Maharlok, Janalok, Tapalok and Satyalok. And when Brahma's day ends, we know there is a partial dissolution. However, at that time, the middle and the lower planetary systems are submerged in water, but these upper planetary systems are not submerged in water. So they are not dissolved, right? Of course, there is the night of Brahma, and when there is the night of Brahma, then everybody, even the people or devotees or residents of these upper planetary systems, they go to sleep. They don't go to sleep in their own planet. They enter Garbhodakshaya Vishnu. right? So everybody goes to sleep. And then again, the next day of Brahma, everybody then again arises, and then Brahma again has to work. One would have thought that he's already created the world. What does he have to do again and again? So that's not the case, Brahma still has to continue working. It's not like he's done his creation and then he goes back and relaxes and watches Netflix. Doesn't work like that. Yeah, he has to work. So every day he's creating. Every day there is dissolution. Again he creates. This we are talking about Brahma's days, right? So in the upper planetary systems, the residents of the upper planetary systems obviously have their duration of life, which is same as the duration of life of Lord Brahma. So they have to be special souls, right? You and me are here. We are not there. There's a reason, right? So that they are special souls. They are fortunate souls. They are those souls who are only interested in self-realization. They have nothing to do with material pleasures, with facilities, enjoyment, sense gratification. They don't care about any of these things. They are completely absorbed only in how they can realize themselves and realize God. So all these great sages who have performed various austerities on the middle planets or even perhaps lower planets are elevated to these higher planetary systems, which is like we said. And why? Because there they are given the opportunity to completely absorb themselves in the thoughts of the Lord and for self-realization. Because in the upper planetary systems, there is no disturbance by asuras, right? So that is why they have been elevated to the upper planetary systems. However, even among them, there are non-devotees. And what does that mean, non-devotees? Non-devotees are those great sages who have taken to jnana yoga, dhyana yoga, but have not yet come to bhakti yoga, right? So in Canto 2, chapter 9, verse 9, Prabhupada actually gives us a description about the different kind of austerities. And he uses this very beautiful analogy where he says there is no point in beating the husks without grains. Now what he's trying to describe, and I will just read this briefly, the purport exactly. It's better to always repeat what Prabhupada says. So Prabhupada says, the trouble accepted in executing bhakti yoga is transcendental happiness from the very beginning. Whereas the trouble of penance in other processes of self-realization, that is jnana yoga, dhyana yoga, etc., without any Vaikuntha realization, ends in trouble only and nothing more. There is no profit in beating husk without grains. Similarly, there is no profit in executing troublesome penances other than bhakti yoga for self-realization. So, we do have some non-devotees who are learned, very knowledgeable because they've taken to jnana yoga, and they can have arguments, they present their understanding with a lot of logic, but they are constantly searching. And what are they searching for? What is the absolute truth? They are constantly searching and searching and searching, but because they don't take to the process of bhakti yoga, the search goes on. And we just heard that the lifespan of these people, these sages or learned devotees, well, not devotees in the bhakti yoga, but still these great yogis, they have a very long lifespan because they are obviously living in the upper planetary systems. Their lifespan is as long as one day of Brahma. However, for millions of years, they keep searching for self-realization and they don't get it, right? So this was just a brief about the previous verse, because then it leads on to now in this particular verse, who is Vidura then talking about? So, Vidura addresses Maitreya as Bhagavan. Bhagavan, and Prabhupada gives this translation. He says, a spiritually powerful one. So Vidura is addressing Maitreya, and he says, "O spiritually powerful one, you can understand the movements of eternal time." Now, what does it mean to see or to understand the movement of time? Is it like we're sitting on the banks of a river and we are watching the river flow, or we are on the curb of a road and we watch the traffic go? Is watching time as easy as that? Or does it reveal itself based on your consciousness? So this is what we are going to address in today's verse. How do you study or understand the movement of time? So just some key points from the purport before we go even more deeper. Time is the energy of Lord, and it works under His will, as does everything else in the world, whether material or spiritual. Everything works under the will of the Lord. And thus, no one but the Lord can fully know time. Nobody can know time fully. However, the devotee can receive insight by his spiritual practice and by surrendering to the Lord. Prabhupada says in the purport that devotees do not aspire to be mystics or yogis, but through their sincere bhakti, the Lord reveals the knowledge. And Srila Prabhupada explains that this divine insight and this spiritual practice is what is known as the Krishna conscious vision, when even an ordinary person can become a seer of the truth. So Prabhupada is very clear. He says we are not trying to become astrologers or psychics. The real mystic is one who simply pleases Krishna through devotional service, and as a byproduct, Krishna reveals knowledge of things beyond ordinary perception. Right? So a very nice analogy that has been used is that just like a child may not understand how electricity works, but he knows that if he simply flips the light switch, there will be light. Correct? Same way, a devotee, he just gains divine vision simply by flipping the switch of surrender. So for a devotee, he might not understand all of these. I know this particular chapter, 11th chapter, is quite a difficult one, so to say, right? Because it's calculating time using atoms, and when I was reading all of this, I was like, it was just going above my head. And then I read this, and Prabhupada says, devotee gains divine vision simply by flipping the switch of surrender. And I thought, okay, I don't have the intellectual ability. I'm quite foolish. I can't understand all these things, but I can try to surrender. So that's my go-to. That's my go-to mantra now. Whenever I face any difficulties, I'm going to just try to surrender. I'm saying try because that's not very easy. The Lord reveals truth to a sincere servant by the way we approach Lord. And in the Bhagavad Gita, we all know this very famous verse. Maybe somebody can recite the verse 4.11. Scholars. Yes, we have here. Yes. Thank you, Mataji. So the translation is that as you approach Krishna, that is the way that He will also reveal Himself. So it's as simple as that. We approach Krishna with surrender, He will reveal Himself. We approach Krishna with a scholarly mood, He will give us that, because He will give us what we desire. We approach Krishna with a challenging mood, then that is what we will receive. Right? So as we approach Krishna. And then in the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says, 10.10, beautiful verse, to those who are constantly devoted to me, I give them the understanding by which they can come to me. Krishna will reveal everything. We just have to take shelter of Krishna. We don't have to put in any extra effort. When I say extra effort, what I mean is that memorizing hundreds and thousands of verses, trying to analyze each and everything. The problem is, it is amazing if we can. But unfortunately, in Kali Yuga, we have got manda buddhi. We don't have that kind of buddhi, we don't have that kind of memory where we can remember everything. But there's no lost, we don't lose hope here. We've got complete hope because Krishna says, don't worry, I will give you everything. I'm seated in everyone's heart, and it is only from me that remembrance, knowledge, and forgetfulness, everything comes. Correct? So when we hear or we read this verse that devotees are given Trikala Jnana. What does Trikala mean? Trikala Jnana? So when we hear this thing, when you talk in normal circles and you say, oh, this person knows past, present and future. It's, people may think, what are they talking? Is this some mystic yogi? Does he have some mystic powers? But when you read the Bhagavatam and the Bhagavad Gita, you realize that we are not talking about any kind of mystical showmanship. It is not that. The revelation is based on the relation that you have with Krishna. It's just that. So as deep your relation, that much is the revelation. All of us know the past, our past. We might not know everybody's past, Krishna speaks in the Bhagavad Gita about the Kshetra and Kshetragna. My Kshetra is just this much. I can only know about this. At least I know about my past. I know the present, what's happening. But I don't know the future. However, Prabhupada in one of his lectures in LA in 1972 says, devotees automatically become Trikala Jnana. They may not show it, but Krishna reveals it when needed. This is amazing. Krishna reveals it when needed. Bear that in mind. You won't be Trikala Jnanis every time. It is only when needed. And who is the decider of that and the controller of that? Krishna. Right? There is this beautiful verse. It's amazing, when I read this. So it says, Krishna reveals it when needed. And this morning I was just sitting on the bench there in the reception, and I was going through, my laptop is playing up. If I shut it down, it might not restart. So I just had to leave it open. So I was, looking at my laptop and that, and very senior devotee, His Grace Dayal Baldev Prabhu came there. Jai Shri Shri Radha Gokulanand ki, Jai Sitaram Lakshman Hanuman ki, Jai Shri Shri Gaur Matai ki, Jai Srila Prabhupada ki, Jai. Yeah, so Dayal Baldev Prabhu came there. And these are exalted devotees who perhaps know all the verses, and he just said, oh, this verse is very beautiful and the last line of the purport is very nice. And I'm thinking, my God, not only do you know the verse, you also know the purport. And then he recited one verse, and he spoke about this verse, which is so beautiful. So two things. What happened at that immediate time was, this made sense to me. Krishna reveals it when needed. And I just thought, I need it, and that is why Krishna is revealing it. And the verse that Prabhu recited is from Chaitanya Charitamrita Adi Leela, chapter 4, verse 1. And I'll just read the translation. It says, by the mercy of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, even a foolish child can fully describe the real nature of Lord Krishna, the enjoyer of the pastimes of Vraja, according to the vision of the revealed scriptures. Now, this made so much sense, and it just tied in with what we are discussing today. Even a foolish child can fully describe the real nature of Lord Krishna. How many of times in our different classes, Bhagavatam, Chaitanya Charitamrita, Bhagavad Gita, we have spoken and heard, nobody can understand the real nature of Lord Krishna. Right? We've heard that so many times. Nobody. However, here Mahaprabhu is saying, by the mercy of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, even a foolish child can fully describe the real nature of Lord Krishna. So, all we need, all we have to beg for is the mercy. That's all that we want. Even the last statement of this particular verse in the purport, Prabhupada says, and I'll just repeat the last statement, they are competent to understand everything by the grace of the Lord who is sitting in everyone's heart. Many times we hear these things, but we need to absorb it. We need to just, it needs to just flow in our body like how the blood is flowing, like that. The importance of mercy, the importance of grace of Lord Krishna. So just to kind of understand, because like I said, it's quite a heavy topic and understanding it. So I thought we could look at some examples from our scriptures of how Krishna reveals when the time is right. So the first example that I thought of was Bhishma Dev. Now Bhishma Dev at all times is seeing Krishna's plan, correct? Bhishma Dev was lying on the bed of arrows after the battle of Kurukshetra. He was preparing to leave his body, and we know that he had Ichha Mrityu, so it was death at will. And so he was preparing, he was waiting for the right time. He was, of course, waiting for Lord Krishna to be there so that he could take darshan. And in these few verses, and I won't go through all the verses, but just these, for your reference, these verses from Canto 1, Chapter 9, a few verses where Bhishma Dev is instructing Yudhishthir Maharaj. Yudhishthir Maharaj is very distressed, obviously, after the battle of Kurukshetra. He thinks he's, hurt so many people, killed so many devotees. And so when Yudhishthir Maharaj comes to Bhishma Dev seeking instructions, verse 16, Bhishma Dev says, "O king, no one can know the plan of the Lord Shri Krishna. Even though great philosophers inquire exhaustively, they are bewildered." Sometimes we hear that it is by chance that things are happening. By chance, apparently, the universe has been created, and by chance, whatever is happening in the world, in my life, your life, the entire world, it's by chance. What we fail to understand is that nothing, not even a blade of grass, will move by chance. Everything is done by the plan of the Lord. So what Bhishma Dev is realizing is that the Lord is using time, Kala, to fulfill his purposes. In the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says, "Time I am." Right? So time is being used by the Lord to fulfill all his purposes. Sometimes seemingly very tragic or unjust events may happen, and we may not be able to understand it. We know that we've all heard of this very tragic incident that has happened in the past few days. Sometimes it's very difficult to make sense of these things, but we have to understand that it is part of a larger divine plan. Our vision is, when animals are, even if they're going for races or for whatever work, they put these, what is this thing called? I can't remember. Sorry? Blinkers. Yes, blinkers. Thank you, Prabhu. So they have these blinkers because they are meant to just see the path ahead and just do that. They don't want to get distracted. With us also, we don't have physical blinkers, but we have very limited vision. So we also can see only what is available for us to see. We can't see the bigger picture, the divine plan of the Lord. But as devotees, what we can do is have faith in that divine plan. Now Bhishma's realization that all of this is Krishna's plan, and when he was speaking to Yudhishthir and saying, "Don't worry, now you're the king, you have to rule," he wasn't predicting the future. He wasn't becoming that kind of, we spoke about mystic yogis who can predict the future. That was not what Bhishma Dev was doing. What was happening there was, and what he was experiencing and his realizations were coming from deep devotion and experience and faith in Krishna's plan of action. So when we talk about devotees becoming Trikala Jnana, what we mean is that we understand through our service, through Bhakti Yoga, through surrender, we understand that whatever the future holds is Krishna's plan, and it is going to be perfect because Krishna's plan is always perfect. So that is the understanding that a devotee has, right? And then we have another example. And this is very interesting. When Dhruva Maharaj was very upset with his father because his father did not allow him to sit on his lap, and his stepmother was extremely harsh with him, and he felt insulted and he left home. And what was his determination? What did Dhruva Maharaj want? He wanted a kingdom that was greater than that of his father and grandfather and everybody. He wanted the biggest and the most opulent kingdom. And Narad Muni met him in the forest and tried to discourage him from this material ambition. So what Narad Muni did was he recognized that this ambition that Dhruva has, or this desire that he has, is actually immature, but at the same time he saw the sincerity. So what Narad Muni did was, instead of giving future predictions, he gave him the path to real vision. And what was that? Chant, meditate, take the Lord's name, surrender to Lord Vishnu. He taught Dhruva how to worship Lord with sincerity, austerity, chanting, complete surrender, taking shelter. Narad Muni was not predicting what the future will be. Narad Muni was not promising Dhruva that by doing this you will get a kingdom. So he wasn't seeing that future. He did not say that you will become a king in 5 years or 10 years. But what he did was he simply gave Dhruva the process to surrender, knowing that then Krishna would personally reveal whatever Dhruva needed. Correct? So, and what happened? What was the outcome of this? Dhruva got direct darshan of Lord Vishnu. And where he had actually gone with the ambition of getting this big kingdom, eventually he was ready to renounce everything. And what this teaches us and shows us is that transformation came from spiritual realization, not from a prophecy of the future. So it's very important to understand what we are talking about when we speak about this knowing the future or, predicting the future. Very important to understand this, right? So I hope these two examples will kind of give us some understanding. So just some key takeaways from both these stories. So for Bhishma Dev, he understood Krishna's plan through experience and devotion, right? He did not blame Krishna for anything. He was lying on his deathbed, but he did not blame Krishna for anything because he saw Krishna in all events. He saw Krishna's hands in everything. He showed Trikala Gyan by faith, because he had faith, not by any kind of mystic siddhis. As Prabhupada said, devotees, we do not need to cultivate any mystic siddhis. Then when we look at the story of Narad Muni guided this soul, Dhruva, to realization through spiritual practice. Again, he did not predict the future. He did not say that by doing this you will become a king. Instead, he guided Dhruva to transcend these material ambitions that he had. And by doing this, what Narad Muni did is he revealed Krishna's mercy to Dhruva. So he revealed the future, but the future was Krishna's mercy. And that is what devotees can do and hopefully try to do. So now just to come to, we've got a few minutes, which is great. Just to come to how we can apply it. We don't need to see the future. We need to see Krishna's hand in the present at all times. Like Bhishma Dev, we must learn to trust the Lord's plan even in great difficulties. Like Narad Muni, we can help others not by predicting their future, but by giving them the path to Krishna. So our mystic vision does not come by performing various kinds of austerities and siddhis. Our mystic vision comes through performing devotional services like Shravanam, Smaranam, Padasevanam, and complete surrender. Right? So just some key takeaways and we'll finish with this. Time is not just seconds and minutes as we know it. Time is Krishna's energy. We cannot master time, but time can serve us if we serve Krishna. If we don't waste time, then time becomes our slave rather than we becoming slaves of time. The Lord gives vision to his devotees not because they earn it, but because they are surrendered. We discussed this in the beginning of the class. Jnana Yoga, Dhyana Yoga, or this attitude of thinking that I will learn everything and that is how I will gain everything, doesn't work. It's only if we get the mercy of the Lord. So perhaps just the last few bits is that and Prabhupada very kindly has given us this process where by hearing Bhagavatam regularly, by respecting time as Krishna's energy, by trying to perform our devotional activities in association of sadhus, in association of other devotees, because Krishna speaks through other devotees, we can perhaps come to the stage where we also will become Trikala Gyan, not because of mystic siddhis, but because of our surrender to Krishna. Brahma saw the truth through tapasya. We may not be able to perform those kind of austerities, but simple devotional activities, and we can have faith that Krishna will reveal, and what he will reveal is what we need to know and when we need to know. And what we need is how we can go back to Krishna, back home where we belong. Right? So I will stop here. It's exactly 8:30. Thank you all very much for listening. And if there are any comments or corrections, please do help me. I can improve myself then. Thank you. Sorry? Because questions, there are senior devotees who can answer. But yes, of course, if there are questions, we've got Prabhu. Yes. Yes, Mataji. I think there's a mic coming.
I remember there was one story with Srila Prabhupada. Maybe somebody can remember it better than me. But there was something that somebody was challenging Srila Prabhupada, do you know everything? And then at this time, Prabhupada said yes. So then the man said, how many coaches are there in the train that goes from Delhi to Calcutta, or something like that? So then Prabhupada he said the number 56 or something. And then the devotees were amazed, and the man was too, because it was right.
Oh, wow.
And then the devotees, they asked Prabhupada, how did you know that afterwards? And then he said, one time I was sitting in the train station, and this train passed by, and I just counted the coaches.
Wow. Jai Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. But there are so many such cases. I wanted to ask you, but we didn't have time. But I wanted to ask you, have any of you ever felt this, like presence of Krishna when you absolutely need it, or something just happens out of the blue and you think, how did I know this, or how did this come to me? Has any of you experienced that ever? Yes? Isn't it? And that is when, the thing is, I was talking to somebody and I said, Krishna is the seed-giving father of everybody. It's not just of devotees. He is the seed-giving father of every living entity. The only difference that happens in our lives is that we become conscious of his presence. That's all. He's present as the super soul with all of us. The problem is that we are not conscious of his presence. And with Prabhupada's mercy and by reading and associating with devotees, the only change that is happening in our lives is that we slowly become conscious of Krishna. So even if in the past things have happened and because we are not conscious, we've not realized that this is Krishna. But now when things happen, straight away we think, oh, this is Krishna acting. So like Prabhupada said, we have to just develop this vision, this consciousness. And that's the main thing. Yeah. Thank you for your story. That was really nice. Any other comments? Yes.
Thank you. I was wondering if you could clarify or expand on one point you're making, that in the higher planets there are non-devotees, and they are non-devotees because they may be practicing dhyana yoga, jnana yoga. So I was just thinking, usually when we think of yoga, Prabhupada often explains they're connecting to God. So I was just wondering what that
So
means.
when we are addressing them as non-devotees, we don't mean as non-devotees because, and this could be just my understanding or what I've heard also. If everybody is part and parcel of Krishna, nobody can actually be a non-devotee, but it is not manifested. Because because our heart, our minds are so covered. So when we are talking about these kind of jnanis and yogis, what they are doing is they are performing austerities for self-realization, but they are not linking it with Krishna. And because they are not linking it with Krishna and they are not understanding bhakti yoga in one sense, they are still away from devotional service or devotion to Krishna. And that in that term they are called as non-devotees. So not that they are not devotees, but they have not yet realized or accepted Krishna as the Supreme Personality. Whereas devotees, they don't care about jnana and dhyan and the other limbs of yoga. All they care about is bhakti yoga. It doesn't matter whether I know the Vedas or I don't know the Vedas. The highest, the greatest devotees that we all talk about, and Prabhupada always talks about them, are the gopis. They don't know any Vedic scriptures or any literatures or any verses, but they are the greatest devotees. So in that sense, we are calling them non-devotees, is that they are still focused on Gyan and Dhyan, have not turned towards bhakti as yet. But because of their performance of austerities, obviously they are, higher than us, and that is why they are not here and they are on the higher planetary systems. So they have, through dint of their austerities and tapasya, they've reached there, but they have not reached the ultimate goal, which is bhakti yoga. Like that. I hope that makes sense. Thank you. Yes.
Do you say that there are devotees also in the higher planetary systems?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yes.
And they are absorbed in service of the Lord, and
yes,
because apparently it seemed like it's been said, even from a non-devotional point of view, people have been receiving vision that this earth, Gaia, this earth here, is one of the best places. It's the best place to do devotional service.
Yes, that is true.
And so if that is the case. And also it's been reported that other beings are queuing up to come down here.
Correct.
So what about those in the higher planets? I mean, do they stay there, or do they sometimes come down here to practice, or do they go further up?
Yeah. So I'm not an expert on this, and Prabhuji sitting next to you perhaps will be better at guiding. But what I have heard and understood is that when you go to the higher planetary systems, there are more chances of you actually forgetting devotion and devotional service to Krishna, because the higher planetary systems are so opulent and you get completely fixed in these kind of opulences. So that is why we are talking about different kind of people who are on the higher planetary systems. There are some who are completely absorbed in self-realization and absorbed in devotional services. However, there are others who are perhaps absorbed in mystic yogas, siddhis, trying to get more those kinds of things by performing jnana and dhyana yoga and that. But in order to understand Krishna and realize Krishna, what I have heard, as you have heard, is that this place is the best, because this is where we can actually surrender to Krishna and understand Krishna. So yes, people, I've also heard from various lectures and acharyas that people are queuing up to come here. Now, whether they get elevated from the planetary systems straight to Golokadham, I don't know about that. I'm not sure. I know some bits, but I'm not sure about it. So I think I would rather not speak about it here. Thank you. Yes.
What you said is generally correct, that the demigods, because there's a propensity to enjoy, they can get distracted and they'll come back. So they're queuing up to come back here, because
Yes.
in Kali Yuga, I mean, the benefit you can get is you can go back to Golok Vrindavan.
Yes.
But also, if you're in the higher, like Tapaloka and so on, you can go from there and progress that way as well.
Yes. Okay.
So
Thank you.
both are there,
Yes.
but there's not so much of an enjoying spirit in that region.
Yes. Yes. Thank you. Thank you for clarifying. Yeah.
Maybe Shyam wants to say something.
I had this understanding that in the higher planetary systems, the soul has got only birth and death, and he's just enjoying. So he's not interested in bhakti or anything. I had heard like that. So there is a sequence of going higher and higher, and ultimately they come back to understand bhakti or devotional service. That's what my understanding is.
Okay. Okay.
I disagree with this understanding on the last part, where
Yeah.
there's those in the are mystics and so on,
Yeah.
but they'll come back. But
Yeah.
devotees that haven't fully, they're practicing, but they had some attachments, they
Yeah.
can still progress from there.
Progress from there. Yeah, that's what I've also heard actually, but that they do progress from there. But yeah, thank you. Yeah, you know better, so I leave it to you. Yes. Okay, it is 8:40, and I know it is time for breakfast. Thank you very much. Śrimad Bhāgavatam ki jai. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Vandeham Sri Guru